Going to the James Dean farmhouse in Fairmount, Indiana is like going back in time. It's exactly the way it was when he lived there. Even his little cousin Marcus, who is seen in this photo with him, still lives in the home. And it's Marcus's contribution which has made this museum probably the best film star museum I've ever seen. Starting off with things like his baby shoes and his baby sweater, baby blankets, announcements from when he was born. It's amazing that these things still exist and are able to be seen at the museum. James Dean was actually born in Fairmount, Indiana, and lived there for the first 4 years of his life. And then his family moved to California until he was 9. And when he was 9, his mother died, and he was moved back to Fairmount to live with his aunt and uncle because his father couldn't take care of him alone. As I mentioned, Marcus donated so many incredible items to this museum, and the artwork done by James Dean is so beautiful and shows what a real talent he was. The museum also has amazing high school artifacts, including both his letter sweaters and trophies and his letter patches from his time in high school. He was quite an athlete and also was in theater. Here's an interesting story. This bike was purchased for James Dean by his uncle for Jimmy's 16th birthday. And through a series of trades and purchases, because James Dean eventually had traded this bike, it did come back to the family, and so it is here now in the museum. As an aside, I was commenting to the young woman who worked there and who knows everything you want to know about James Dean about this beautiful watercolor, and it turned out that she is the one who did it. Her name is Dorothy, and I just think she's so talented. She did these 2 other watercolors as well, and I think she should make them into prints and sell them. If you're a James Dean fan, then you likely will have seen the photos of him in his one-room apartment in New York. And that's the thing that really struck me about this museum was they have so many things that you've seen in the photos of James Dean in his apartment, such as the matador cape and bull's horns, the conga drum and the bongo drums, they even have his beloved recorder, and there are so many photographs of him taken with this. Even this shirt, which incidentally is next to a tape recorder in which Jimmy practiced his lines from Giant, and he kept that in his California home. It's so hard to narrow down my favorite things from this museum, but I'm going to show you a few of what I think are the highlights. And the first one here is this little handwritten address book where he has Liz Taylor listed as well as others. This interpretive model of himself that he sculpted, as well as many handwritten letters. Also this complete Western outfit, which included the fringe jacket, the chaps, the boots, and the tooled leather belt with his name on it. I remember making one of those leather belts in high school, but mine didn't look that good. Anyway, he did wear all of these items. Personally, my favorite item in the museum was the stack of letters from Pierre Angeli to Jimmy, partly because I'm taken with that rather tragic star-crossed lovers type of story that they had. I hate to overuse the word iconic, but having his motorcycle and black leather jacket in the museum was only fitting, since it is part of his iconic image. And in that same vein, the jumpsuit that he wore when he was doing his car racing is also in the museum. Just as a quick aside, what is Nancy McKeon from Facts of Life, who played Jo, doing in James Dean's class photo? Okay, I know it's not her, but boy, it really looks like her, doesn't it? Okay, I'm sorry I digressed there for a minute, but I'm back to talk about Giant, which is one of my all-time favorite movies and directed by my favorite director, George Stevens. And there were some amazing pieces there. His boots, the lariats that he used, and a pair of cufflinks, amongst other things. This museum was so chock full of items, and I'd like to say they had everything but the kitchen sink, but you guessed it, they had the kitchen sink from his apartment in New York. Amazing! Again, a testament to his talent in more things than just acting is this self-portrait sculpture, which is incredible, along with his sculpting tools. And then what I thought was actually kind of funny was this wax museum head that they had of him. And I think it's kind of funny that James Dean actually had more talent than the people who were sculpting wax heads in the wax museums. My second favorite thing in the whole museum is this annotated script belonging to James Dean from Giant. What a spectacular piece. I wish I could have gone through the script itself because the comments and the changes he made would be fantastic to read. You're not going to believe this, but I haven't even scratched the surface as to what can be seen at the James Dean Museum. If you get a chance to go there, I can't recommend it highly enough. My last stop was to visit the cemetery where James Dean is buried and pay my respects. It's a beautiful cemetery very close to his farm. What kept coming back to my mind while I was there was how he spent most of his life in Fairmount and very few years in New York and Los Angeles, and yet what he accomplished was staggering.